It's time for us to unlearn our bullshit. Heathens disagree, and that's a good thing. One of Norse paganism's favorite pastimes is disagreeing and getting into heated arguments. That's one of the reasons in my Norse Talk is Toxic video, I break it down into big, medium, and small problems. Big being active harm, medium being stuff that we disagree on, that we can discuss, and maybe even debate. And then small, the little things that we can let go, hills that you wouldn't necessarily die on, you know? Do I really care if you're walking around with an IKEA rug on your shoulders? Doesn't really affect me. Good luck not overheating. So it was recently brought to my attention that some of my videos appear to be subtweeting AsatruEric. That is not the case. We disagree on stuff. That is going to come out in my videos. His videos might contradict some of mine might contradict some of his. That is the difference of opinion. These are mostly in the medium problem category, things that we would discuss, even debate, but nothing that is causing active harm. Something that really stuck out, I guess, was the Ossopope thing. That is an ancient meme as far as modern heathenry goes. It's been around since at least 2006, 2007. I heard it sometime around then. I've been heathen since 2006. I am an old man and time marches on, turning 39 this year.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
The AsatruEric picture I created is actually a spoof on the Norrena Society. They made their own AsatruEric based on a white nationalist's views of Norse mythology, compiling both Eddas. That is the book I used, and then I just edited it to fit my meme a little bit better and threw the Marvel Thor's hammer on there because I thought it was funny. That is my sense of humor. Eric's sense of humor differs, and sometimes he can come off very arrogant and egotistical. It's his comedic style. A lot of that stuff he's doing to draw you in, to get you to stop scrolling and pay attention so he can actually teach you. Like, I don't think in real life he all of a sudden pops into a petty alter ego. That's a skit that he's doing to entertain you and to get you to stop scrolling so you actually pay the fuck attention. And it can be pretty funny. I'm obviously not his target audience. That's not my sense of humor necessarily, but it doesn't have to be. There's a thing that Americans specifically do because of the hyper-commodification and consumerist culture that we live in, where we think everything has to cater to us, and it doesn't. That's why I made the It's Not For You video. Sometimes things are not for you. AsatruEric's content is not for me. Not that I can't learn something from it, as long as I put my own ego away, something a lot of us heathens need to learn, but I am not the target demographic, nor do I need to be. And once I did put my ego away and actually looked at his content, I've noticed that he's got a lot of really good content and he teaches it pretty well. There's a couple things I disagree with every now and then. Sometimes I'll comment, sometimes I won't, but there's a lot of really good videos. Like he did one on his AsatruEric 2.0 on UPG that was great, talking about how a lot of people, and we deal with this on r/Norse paganism all the time, where these people will use their personal gnosis as though it were cold hard fact, and he's speaking against that. And that's a really important lesson that a lot of heathens need to understand. And I think that it might also kind of carry over, not just from Christianity, but also from Wicca a little bit, where it is very gnosis heavy, and a lot of people do teach from their gnosis, which a lot of heathens are stepping away from. Sometimes they can step too far and then they get into the lore lawyer category, but that's a topic for another video. It just has to do with a lot of Wiccan history influencing heathenry. It's a pretty good video, and I loved this message.
You should question everything and everyone. You should not listen to anybody as they're the end-all be-all. I am not the end-all be-all. I am some douche canoe on TikTok. You should be researching everything I'm talking about.
And that right there shows me that he's not dogmatic. He wants us to fact check him. He wants us to go to other creators, get multiple opinions. Something that I've been saying for years in multiple YouTube videos and a few of my TikToks. You shouldn't have one creator, one teacher that you go to for all the things. I tend to get a little bit more into the like esoteric, kind of deeper symbolism, comparative mythology, all that stuff. And that's not really his get down. You might get something from me that you won't get from him, and you might get something from him that you won't get from me, and you might go to Midgard Musings, for example, or maybe even Diana Paxson, and you'll get different information, and then you come to your own conclusions because you're building your own religion. I'm not here to dictate your religion to you. None of these creators get to define your religion, but you. It's so important to find those multiple sources and learn from the lore and build that modern tradition. Something he's also said in this other video.
The way I practice, I try to do it as close to our ancestors as I possibly can, and therefore I try to learn as much as I can about our ancestors, but I still mix it with modern day traditions. Because this is a living spiritual path.
So with all that being said, it is good that we disagree. It is good that you go to multiple sources. You should get as many as possible, come to your own conclusions, do your own research, do your own homework. It can seem like a lot. Follow one thread at a time. Research whatever bugs in your craw at the moment. Eventually you will develop enough knowledge base and confidence in your religious beliefs that you will develop your own strong tradition. So no, I don't believe that AsatruEric is dogmatic, and I don't believe that he is doing active harm. Is he doing passive harm? We all are to a certain degree. That's part of deconstruction. Like me with my archetypes, that's a big part of my personal beliefs and a lot of my content. That can be seen as harmful. When it comes to archetypes, there can be a lot of erasure of specific cultures in favor of solidifying that archetype, which is why with archetypal polytheism, I talk about the nuance of the archetype being separated from the god and all that, which you can watch other videos if you want more specifics. But it took me a while to understand that in the perennialist sense, that can erase specific cultures and be harmful. That it was an inactive harm that I was doing that I was unaware of, and have since deconstructed and corrected myself on. The thing is, deconstruction never stops. One of the ways that we will be able to deconstruct is by discussing with one another. There was actually a group of friends on the internet, I won't say who, I disagreed with vehemently. Like a couple of years back, it seemed like every month we were getting into an argument, debating and this and throwing shade, and it got bad. It wasn't until we put aside our differences and then came to the table in Grith, we were able to set that bullshit aside and grow. And now many of those creators I work with on some things, I have been discussing with, on sidelines, and they actually have helped improve my content. All because I was able to put my ego away and deconstruct a little bit and actually discuss with them rather than bark back and forth. And we grew and became better for it. So I'll end the video on this. One of the things that's come up in the past as the Loki litmus test, specifically with Eric, I don't think it applies. He may not have Loki in his practice. That's perfectly valid. From an animist standpoint, it makes sense to reject chaos, certain elements that you feel may interject chaos into your life. That is absolutely valid. He has Loki in mutuals. People that I've talked to a couple people that are in his kin and agreed about a lot of stuff. So while he's not a big fan of Loki and he does not involve Loki in his personal practice and he sees Loki as an antagonist, which again is something that we disagree on, worst case I think Loki is kind of a lawyer. I'm saving all that for another video. He does still at least hold web bonds, which is the term that I'm kind of using for online frith, because frith doesn't necessarily apply. Again, it's going to be a topic for another video. But he holds web bonds with some Lokians who have reached out to me. And despite them disagreeing on stuff, they can still be friends. Just because you disagree with somebody on something doesn't mean that it's one of those big problems. Again, discussion will help you grow. Once you set aside your ego and you look at a thing and you think, okay, maybe in this conversation, I'm not going to agree with you, but more research is required. There have been plenty of debates that I've gotten into, despite me being very stubborn and very thick-headed, because I will admit that. I'm still looking at the things those people are saying to me, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to look into this, I need to research this. I might even take physical notes or put notes in my phone for further research, or even just queue up YouTube videos. That is part of the process of growing, not just as a heathen, but as a human being. So go follow AsatruEric 2.0. He is trying to grow that platform. He is no longer able to do lives on his larger channel. He's been focusing a lot on lives lately, and I notice he's reposting a lot of his old videos. I haven't seen a whole lot of new content from him other than the occasional meme thing. So go over there, show him some support, and remember, heathens disagree, and that's a good thing. Be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. We are the sum of our actions, not our words.